Welcome to Outside View Scandals, where today we'll delve into one of the most bizarre, twisted and downright dark chapters in French history. We're talking about the affair of the poisons, a scandal that had it all. Poison, witchcraft, secret love potions, nobles behaving badly, and a touch of the occult. All this right under the nose of the Sun King himself, Louis XIV. If you thought court life in Versailles was all luxury and elegance, think again. Behind the scenes, it was more like a real-life soap opera, but with a bit more arsenic. So let's set the scene. It's the late 1600s and Louis XIV, or Louis XIV, is at the height of his power. Versailles is at the epicenter of French culture, fashion, and, as it turns out, intrigue. Nobles are vying for influence, desperate to catch the king's eye and rise in the ranks. But not everyone's content with playing fair. Oh no. Some decide that they need a little, shall we say, extra help. Enter the world of poison and even black magic. The affair of the poisons all began with one woman, Catherine Monvoisin, or Lavoisier as she was called. Lavoisier was a well-known figure in Paris underground world, a fortune teller by trade, but also, let's say, a bit of an alchemist on the side. She provided everything from love potions to deadly poisons, and she wasn't working alone. She was part of a whole network of sorcerers and sorceresses who served the needs of Paris's elite. People came to her for all sorts of things, but the favorite request? A little potion to get rid of unwanted husbands or rivals. Just a spoonful of arsenic and voila, problem solved. And the clientele? Well, not just your average disgruntled peasants. Oh no. Her clients were some of the most high-profile nobles in France. We're talking ladies of the court, dukes, marquises, people who, on the surface, were the picture of respectability. They wore powdered wigs and silk gowns by day, but by night they were slipping into the shadows to meet with Lavoisier. What would people think if they knew that the lovely lady next to them at court and court luncheons was actually dabbling in poison? Things took a darker turn when the king's own mistress, Madame de Montespan, reportedly got involved. Yeah, the very same Madame de Montespan who was famous for her beauty, charm, and her influence over Louis XIV. According to rumors, she wanted to keep the king's attention all to herself. And what's a little witchcraft between lovers, right? It's said that she turned to Lavoisier for love potions and, according to some rather colorful accounts, even took part in black masses. Apparently, Lavoisier organized rituals where Madame de Montespan would pray over sacrifices asking for the king's continued love. Whether or not she was actually sprinkling magical dust, the scandal alone was enough to make heads spin. Now, as you can imagine, a scandal of this magnitude couldn't stay hidden forever. Eventually, word began to spread and the authorities got involved. In 1679, Louis XIV set up a special court known as the Chambre Ardente, or Burning Chamber, specifically to investigate these cases of poisoning and witchcraft. And when they started digging, oh boy, did they find dirt. It was like opening Pandora's box. Nobles, priests, and members of the court were all implicated. Even Louis XIV himself couldn't ignore the mess unfolding in his own backyard. The investigations revealed just how deep the poison trade had seeped into French society. Lavoisier and the network were supplying everything from simple poisons to custom-made concoctions that were practically works of art, if you can call murder an art form. The demand for poison was so high that Lavoisier allegedly held poison parties where clients would come to purchase the lethal mixtures and discuss the best ways to eliminate their enemies. Can you imagine that? A wine cheese night, except instead of appetizers, you're picking up a vial of arsenic. This is kind of a French Tupperware party. And now the shocking part, it wasn't just poison. These gatherings also included spells, curses, and according to testimonies, ritual sacrifices. There were reports of children being sacrificed in some of the darker rituals, which added a whole new level of horror to the scandal. And the court was in an uproar. Not only were those nobles willing to kill for their ambitions, but they were also reportedly willing to dabble in the darkest arts. And as far as the church was concerned, this wasn't just a crime, it was mere blasphemy. So the chamber ardente began its work, and the confession started pouring in. Under torture, suspects spilled secrets like a bad soap opera. One noble after another confessed to buying poison, consulting witches, or attempting to curse rivals. And some claimed that Madame de Montespan herself had plotted to poison the king when his interest in her started to wane. It was juicy, salacious, and utterly scandalous. The public was both horrified and fascinated. This was the ultimate court drama with a little side of witchcraft. The investigations continued for years, and in the end, over 30 people were executed. Lavoisin was, of course, one of them. She was burned at the stake in 1680, a fittingly dramatic end for one of the most infamous figures in France. But she took many of her secrets with her to the grave. Who else was involved? What other plots were never uncovered? To this day, we do not know the full extent of the affair of the poisons. Madame de Montespan, though implicated, was never formally charged. She quietly faded from court, though the whispers about her lingered there for years. Louis XIV, always mindful of his image, distanced himself from the scandal as best as he could. But the shadow of the affair of the poisons cast a dark stain on the French court. It was a reminder that even in the most glamorous of places, darkness can thrive just below the surface. And let's be honest, there's something almost comically fitting about all of it. The court of Louis XIV, which prided itself on refinement and elegance, was also a place where nobles met with poisoners in back alleys. For all the luxury and decadence, they couldn't resist the allure of a little arsenic now and then. It's almost as if Versailles was a stage, and behind the curtain, there was nothing but chaos. So what's the moral of this story? Well, maybe it's this. Power corrupts, and absolute power apparently drives people to dabble in the occult. Or maybe it's just a reminder that sometimes the most beautiful masks hide the darkest secrets. So thanks for joining us on Outside View Scandals again, where we dive deep into history's most notorious tales. And remember, while they might have flirted with poison back then, I'm sticking to simpler pleasures today. But I'm not saying it again today. Until next time, the next video is right here in the end screen.